So 60, I missed the notes, almost didn't know what episode it was. What's going on? Real Fans Podcast. First and foremost, before we begin, I want to shout out all the viewers, all the listeners. We've been doing pretty good with our analytics. Shout out to y'all supporting, liking, sharing, commenting. We out here, you know what I mean? Let's do what it do.
You
We
guys
got
are
my
the
boy
real
Julian.
fans.
We got Gabe out here.
You guys are the real fans.
The real fans.
That's the real fans.
Let's talk about the biggest story coming out, over the sports weekend.
Obviously, the biggest story.
Everybody's been anticipating it. It always keeps making news. It never stops making news. SlamBall's back, guys. We have SlamBall.
SlamBall.
Listen, this is the one thing we've all been waiting for. We don't care about MLB postseason. We don't care about the Super Bowl. I'm playing. But SlamBall's back, guys. We out here. I know Julian was talking about this a couple episodes back, and this man was super excited. He's like, what happened to SlamBall? Well, Julian, tell us. What's going on
Did I bring that up?
You did.
Really? I did bring that up? Oh, shit, you're right. Actually, yeah, I do remember talking about, I never knew what it was called. I just remember seeing it on TV. But man, I just got a clip of it. I saw it on social media, went around saying that it's back. I'm actually pretty excited. I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna watch it like that, but I just want to see it live in modern times, because I'm not gonna lie, I can totally see it being not being how it was, because that was a period in television where everybody was just doing crazy shit and game shows and stuff. And so I don't know how well it would hold up in modern day times. But no, that shit was awesome growing up. I remember watching that, being so confused too. I mean, I was pretty young, but I just remember just seeing these guys just jumping on trampolines. I didn't realize it was an actual competition. And then when I saw all the clips of it going back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember this, the SlamBall shit. I could see why they got rid of it, because people would probably fucking break their neck.
I think it's gonna be hella fun, because I'm the one show I watch. I forget what streaming service I watch. I remember I watch Holy Moly sometimes too. That's a good thing. I think it's run by Steph Curry, which is a fun thing. It's just like putt-putt, but they have crazy games. They make it fun and funny, and they have characters and shit. So it's a good turn your brain off. Let's just have fun. Let me just laugh. This is just something I can put on while I fold clothes or something. So SlamBall, I definitely do remember it. It definitely reminds me of the MTV age, when MTV actually played.
Yeah, exactly. That night, Mad TV, not Mad TV. What am I talking about?
That Mad TV was around that era too. It was significant around that time.
But yeah, that wasn't what I was thinking though. But yeah, those game, those crazy stunts, and it was during that time where everybody was into all that.
I think it could be fun.
It was having the Harlem Globetrotters on steroids out there. These men doing
Harlem Globetrotters, but actually competing.
Yeah, backflips, dunking on people, throwing them to the floor, throwing them against the walls. Bro, they were, from what I remember, they were actually super competitive. You'll get
it was a competitive thing. It wasn't like Harlem Globetrotters. It was a show.
You're leaning in and throwing a shoulder, and you taking that man down, and then you're gonna dunk on him.
And you're fucking what? Almost 15 feet in the air sometimes. We're getting tackled. Any what kind of bounce you get,
Yo, how at the end. So I'm not, my soccer references, I'm not up there like that, right? I guess penalty kicks and all, kind of one-on-one, right? So I think they have that feature with SlamBall. I don't know what we'll call
shootout.
Foul. Yeah, no, but it's one-on-one. Someone plays defense under the hoop, and the other guy has the ball. He has to run out and try to score on him, dunk on him.
Those are the clips I saw.
Yeah.
I don't. I didn't see any clips of them live, actually playing, but I saw the clips.
I remember it was rough, dude. They tackle and shit. You can get checked into the corner. They can, when you're running the ball, they can push you to a corner. So
you know what this is like? You ever? Please tell me, either you guys or the listeners have played NFL Blitz.
Oh yeah,
bro.
Sure.
NFL Blitz on the Dreamcast. I have my Dreamcast. I don't know where that game is, and it's driving me insane, because I would love to go back and play that, because I literally have a Dreamcast and the controller and everything.
Nice.
And I would love to play that. But that is literally the basketball version of that. But in real life. Or if you ever played MLB Slugfest. You ever played MLB Slugfest? That was another one.
It's kind of like NBA Jams too. In a sense.
Yeah.
NBA Jams, you can games. Check too. You can push them there.
Bro, they need to bring those games back. Those shits are so fun.
Those games are still around. Get an emulator, man. Get an
they keep
emulator.
recreating 2K and Madden every year. Nah, we need something.
It's getting. They're trying to make it more
fun,
realistic. I want it fun as shit. Like I want to be able to fight the ump like I used to be like in MLB Slate. That was awesome.
Anyway, speaking of NFL Blitz, let's transition over to the NFL because the NFL never stops making news all the time. Always NFL news. Probably the biggest thing over the weekend was a Hall of Fame game this weekend. For the NFL Hall of Fame game. Obviously, the game they played during the Hall of Fame. Julian, I don't know if you saw, it was your Jaguars versus the Raiders. You're obviously wearing your Raiders jersey. Any takeaways from the Hall of Fame game? Yeah. Who'd you see? Who'd you like? What are your prospects? How do you feel about the Jags going forward?
Trevor Lawrence traded to the Oakland Raiders or the Las Vegas Raiders. My bad. Don't get. Didn't mean to put up any PTSD to all the Oakland fans out there. No, yeah, it was great. It was honestly great to see football is finally back. The season has officially started. Preseason started. Luckily, this is the game that you don't really want to watch because it is like the Hall of Fame game is always preseason games aren't that great in the first place, but the Hall of Fame game is always the worst because it's not even backups half the time. It's like third stringers a lot of the times because it's so early. Yeah. But since the preseason is shortened to 3 games instead of 4, which started last year. So people who play in the Hall of Fame game, they have back to the original 4 preseason games. And I thought maybe they would kind of go back to how they used to structure the 4 preseason games, but I guess not. They ended up just resting all the starters because normally when they had the 4 preseason games, like they would run like a drive or 2, and that's what I was hoping, but nothing much. I just saw a bunch of like I mean, you can only analyze this game so much because it's just guys trying to make a roster. It doesn't really like explain everything. The most you can kind of see is like how teams are going to maybe like time games, like how like you know what I mean. But yeah, I was just checking out some of the fringe guys, seeing if there's any hidden gems, some like that we can get out of this preseason. The guys, those undrafted guys, see how they perform. And yeah, I was just looking at a couple of the receivers. Really, that's all I was checking out. And then by the third quarter, I pretty much tapped out. I was like, I don't really care anymore. And it was getting late. So I'm like, because of weather delay and everything. So, but also this year, let's not forget the reason why the Jags had the Hall of Fame games, because this year we're getting our very first Hall of Famer into the Hall of Fame, Tony Boselli. He was the franchise's first pick ever in 1995, and he's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend. And he's going to be the first Jaguar inducted into the Hall of Fame. So that is the reason we got the Hall of Fame game and everything. And it's so cool too.
Did you throw a little party at the house to celebrate by yourself? Did you?
Yeah, bro. Me and the dog.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow's the actual ceremony. It starts early in the morning. They have a whole bunch of people that are going to like speak. They're supposed to speak for like 8 minutes. They have somebody come on, their head coach or whatever, their high school coach.
I grew up. Well, it's cool too because it's like it's fine. Like I grew up watching him. Like it was like he didn't play very much. Like I remember very little.
He had a short career.
He had a very short career, which is what helped, what slowed down his him getting inducted, which took so long because there's a lot of people that if he had a little bit longer career, he probably would have got pushed in a lot earlier, but because he had a shortened career, it kind of held him back. But when it was in his time, man, he was the greatest left tackle in the league. And it is pretty cool to think that our first Hall of Famer was our very first
draft pick. Nah, that's
pretty cool. Second overall.
That's pretty dope, actually. That's pretty dope.
So, and it's weird because Tony Boselli, like I said, he did have a shortened career, but he did play against some of the most brutal guys. I think Julian, the biggest thing he got was against Bruce Smith, right? Bruce Smith, who also was a Hall of Famer. Kind of like had some words against him, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Tony Boselli, he was a top pick, top guy. He did play well for as short of a career as he did have. So I kind of, as far as like Jags players, he's one of the better Jag players of all time. I still think Jimmy Smith is definitely, I don't know where he is in the Hall of Fame. He should definitely get in, and Fred Taylor should definitely get into the Hall of Fame. As far as Jaguars.
I would love to see Jimmy Smith, but with Jimmy Smith, with his problems with the drug issues that he had, that's what's held him back for so long. But Fred Taylor, he's right up next. Fred Taylor, I think he was 1 round away from getting inducted, which would have been sweet to see 2 Jag players getting inducted at the same time. especially for the first time ever. But he just missed one round, but he should be up. If anybody deserves, he probably deserves to get in more than Tony Boselli. I mean, he was a running back, so you have those stats to back it up. And that man was an absolute baller, 10,000 yard rushing yards in his career. He's next in line, and he should get it soon. I hope.
Yeah. So speaking on to other NFL news, probably one of the biggest signings, I guess, extensions. Deebo Samuel of the 49ers signed a 3-year deal, $71 million contract extension with the San Francisco 49ers. Julian, I'll go to you first. What do you think about Deebo Samuel signing an extension? Was this expected, or is this surprising to you?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week. Last week, we went on a whole 49ers like segment, taught Trey Lance, Garoppolo, all them boys. And I was pretty much saying what's happening now, that it's pretty much done. Like, I'm sure that it was going through. I felt like if he didn't want to be there, he would have already been gone. And turns out I was right, as usual, But
Jojo, I was gonna say, Jojo, how do you feel about Deebo Samuel as a player in the league? Like, do you think he's worth an extension or what?
No, I mean, he's 100% worth an extension. This guy ran that whole team. Like, he literally put the team on his back last season, the last few seasons. Now the issue was with the 49ers. We kept talking about uncertainty with Jimmy G. And then Deebo goes ahead and requests a trade, if I'm correct. So, I mean, he deserves the money for sure. Now, he's going to have to put his faith into a new quarterback this season. So we're going to see how that goes for the 49ers. I still expect him to perform how he performed, and they're going to heavily rely on him, especially if Trey Lance doesn't pull through. And, I know it's his first time having a starting position, but he is going to have a big season. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, Super Bowl bound, but obviously like playoff contention, right? They're not starting from scratch. They're re-signing Deebo, so there's still hopes into them at least making the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think as far as players, like he's one of the most complete. Like he plays all facets of the game, right? As far as receiving, we know he's fast. We know he can catch the ball. He also blocks. He plays defense. Like so, if there's a run game, whatever. He can run the ball, but also he can run block. He can pass block. So as far as like any different aspects of the game, he's super valuable. I think he's a fun young player. I love watching him. He's going into obviously he just got extended on his rookie career. So he had some injuries early on. That kind of kept him back. But I think he's definitely a prime player. And like this is a guy I root for. Like Deebo Samuel is a fun guy to watch and fun to root for. Julian, I don't know.
They'd be fools to have gotten rid of him. They had no choice. They had no choice. Honestly,
it would have been stupid. Like it would have made no sense. Like, and that's what I was saying. Like, there's no way they're going to let him walk. They don't. I mean, they have some decent weapons, but like, I mean, they really heavily relied on the defense. I'm really curious to see how Coach Shanahan's going to like really work with him and Trey Lance in the back, with Deebo in the backfield, and then Trey Lance as quarterback. Like, I'm really curious to see what kind of things he draws up, because I think having Trey Lance now, which me and Gabe went over last week, how he's pretty much, they said he's going to be the starter and Jimmy G's going to be on the bench. It's really going to open up the playbook more to do some more creative things. And obviously Deebo is a huge part of that. So they needed to hold on to that to unlock that creativity, because they're going to have to with that division.
Yeah. So in other news, probably the biggest more news that we kind of talked about earlier, Julian, JoJo wasn't here for it. We talked about Deshaun Watson earlier on. I think the Cleveland Browns said they were
the never-ending story,
getting ready for an 8-game suspension. Finally comes out. The league and the players' union, they have a separate arbiter or a judge to review the cases. They only reviewed five cases of allegations. They found out that it is true that Deshaun Watson has been probably more than likely has been the things he's been alleged of for these 5 cases, 5 of 23, 24, something like that. And he finally came down with a 6-game suspension. But as of last week or the beginning of this week, the NFL, I think Roger Goodell's filed for like kind of
an appeal,
review, like an appeal for the judgment. So he got 6 games. I believe Roger Goodell wanted 12 games. He wanted like a whole season. pretty much.
He wanted the whole season, yeah.
12 games or a whole season coming out. And the Players Association, they wanted 6 games. They gave him 6 games. So, Jojo, I'll go to you. When you heard this Deshaun news, him getting 6 games suspension, like, how do you feel about it? How do you feel that Deshaun is getting treated in this case?
I mean, honestly, with that many accusations, and they finally did the research, right? Like, I guess, he got lucky, right? 6 games. I feel like he's lucky, right? I mean, I know he hasn't been shown like guilty per se in the court of law, but they looked into those 5 cases and found enough evidence against him. So he for sure deserves a punishment for what's been going around. I don't think it's coincidental with how many cases, even though we did find it coincidental during the time those accusations arise. Obviously, when you requested that trade, but hey, man. He hasn't played in a year, right? He missed a season or maybe even more. I don't think it's really going to affect his game anymore at this point. So he just needs to mentally get prepared after those 6 games and just be ready to come back, man, and just put it behind him. But I'm glad that he got a pretty fair punishment. Obviously, you can have one side that wishes, it was more games, and the other side is going to say, hey man, that's way too many games because he wasn't proved guilty technically on anything. 6 games reasonable. I figured, my personal opinion, around 6 to 8 games was pretty fair for this matter.
Julian, how do you, when you heard the news, how do you feel like the NFL and Roger Goodell is processing it? Like, do you think that he got a fair shake?
Oh, I think he's going to get more. It's not over yet. I don't know. There's one thing that always happens. The Shield doesn't lose. The Shield gets what they want. And I think they're going to appeal this. I would not be surprised if the whole season's gone. I wouldn't be surprised. And some people think that he deserves it. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I because it is weird. I don't know. Like, because my biggest thing is just like, how do you determine? Because if Jojo said, if the court of law didn't charge him on anything, then it's like, I don't know. Like, it's weird. But then again, it's like,
yeah,
and it's all a PR move. Like, realistically, the NFL, if there wasn't such a PR aspect, they would have played him. They don't care at the end of the day. But
my thing is, real quick, not to interrupt, but back to my point, what I mean? Obviously, not everything's going to be proved in a court of law, right? Like, if he did step out of boundaries with women, disrespected, pursued when he shouldn't have, of course, he should 100% get punished. But like Julian said, like, the situation is kind of weird. It's kind of around when it happened, and the situations we're hearing, like with the massages and all these things, they were kind of throwing things left and right at him. If he did wrong, he deserves a punishment at the end of the day, right? Now it's just, what will that punishment be? Which he got those 6 games, But you could go ahead.
I thought 6 games was a little light. Like, if I'm just considering what he would have gotten, I thought 6. I thought he was either going to get none or he was going to get like 10. I thought it was. I'm kind of surprised he only got 6. I thought he was either going to get off completely scot-free. But now with the appeal, it looks like Roger Goodell's really going after him. So, like I said, man, you'll mess with the Shield. Like, he's going to get a whole damn season, like, or at least 12.
Yeah, he'll definitely see. He'll start the season, he'll finish the season.
And realistically, like, does he even care how much he gets suspended? Because
no, he's had the highest paid contract ever.
He's gonna make $40 million this year. And the season's already a wash because you're going to have a backup quarterback, most likely playing on, let's say, on the good end, half the season. It's like, I guess it really depends where the team's at. I mean, if Cam Newton goes in there and starts fucking balling up, and then if they end up signing him, I guess it really depends. But it's like, I think Deshaun is just like, I think he just doesn't care. And everybody, I don't know if you've seen the clips going around in training camp. He's been looking bad. He's been looking bad. Granted, he's probably rusty, but supposedly he's been training. So I don't know.
So we'll see. I mean, Deshaun Watson, like I said, more than likely, as of right now, as it stands, the news, he will play this season. But we'll see what comes of the appeal come the second half of the season. Speaking of the Browns, their competition, Diontae Johnson signs an extension, 2 year, $36 million with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So he extends with the Steelers. I don't know how this makes them competitive, Julian. Diontae Johnson, I think he's a nice little player to have. He's been good for them, but he's one of these guys. Like, is it worth 15 million for this year and for next year? Like, do you think like I don't know if they still compete. Like, I still have the Bengals competing this season and being the top of that division. Do the Steelers get better by extending Johnson?
Well, you get worse if you don't. You know what I mean? You got a
That's
rookie quarterback. You get a rookie quarterback coming out of Pitt, which I liked. I liked him. I think he's going to be pretty good. He's already a fan favorite over there. Obviously, he played in college in Pitt, so it's like, you know, he gets drafted by the NFL team in Pittsburgh. Like, you know, kind of a perfect fit. And he needs a weapon. Like we how many times have we seen like rookie quarterbacks go in there and have no weapons, and it just hurts the development. So I think obviously Diontae Johnson, he's not an elite wide receiver. He's a great number two. I think Pittsburgh needs to find that number one. They're definitely not going to get it this year because the season's already coming up and they're not getting anybody now. But I think you need to have something. And I think it was a solid pickup. I don't think 15 million is that expensive considering everything that's going on. But it's not like they have big contracts on that team either. So, I mean, who are you paying a lot to? You got a rookie quarterback, you know, TJ Watt is your highest paid player on that team. You got some money to spend. Why not? You know, and the salary cap is going up every year. So
yeah,
lock them in now.
I was gonna say also on that team they have Miles Boykin, Chase Claypool still there.
Yeah, you got
Juju
I don't know
Smith-Schuster
why
left.
I completely forgot about
Smith-Schuster
Chase
left.
Claypool.
Obviously, he's with KC.
Claypool.
So it's kind of like he's a guy you've had around. He knows the playbook. Might as well keep him. Jojo, I don't know how you feel about Diontae Johnson with the Steelers. How do you feel as him as a player? Will he be productive for the Steelers?
Yeah, no, I definitely believe so. And kind of like what Julian said, man. I mean, if he walks, you're just gonna get worse. You know what I mean? So that's a great thing. You know, they kept him and he stood. So it's all. He's definitely gonna have a productive season. And you know, with a new quarterback this year, your boy Ben gone. Who's the replacement?
Kenny
let me look it up.
Pickett.
Was he a rookie from last season?
Yeah.
Or?
No, he's a rookie. He just got drafted this year. He played at Pitt.
It's gonna be interesting.
What the hell is his first name? His last name is Pickett. I'm drawing a blank on his first name.
So who knows how this season's gonna go with the Steelers? But hey, they need every asset that they could keep a hold of at this point.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett. I was right. I was right. I knew I was wrong. And they got Trubisky on the bench, man. And they still got Rudolph. They got a solid 3 quarterbacks.
It's got a solid people who we don't care about because they're just people.
Yeah, but they're like, look, there's worse backups out there. Honestly, like I would take Trubisky and Rudolph as your 2 backups for a rookie quarterback. I don't think that's bad at all. So, and I completely forgot about Claypool. I don't think Claypool needs another guy to the side of him. So that's another thing. I don't think Claypool's at that level to where he's he's going to excel to the point where he's like, it don't matter how many people are on him. He's going to score. Like, I think he's one of those number ones that needs another guy next to him, and it works.
Yeah. So let's transition over. Let's talk about the NBA real quick. NBA is still making news. Obviously, we're in the doldrums of the summer. The Philadelphia 76ers re-signed James Harden to a contract. Jojo, how do you feel about this contract? James Harden, obviously, he could have extended. I think it was a contract he could have extended and got guaranteed money, but he decided to not sign and then re-sign with the 76ers, probably to give him some help. Do you still feel like the 76ers are going to be competitive with James Harden re-signing?
Yeah, honestly, for once, I'll give Harden his props, right? Like I feel like now he really shifted his mentality that he wants to win. He did take a little pay cut. Maybe they get some backup here in the season for the 76ers, help him and Joel Embiid out. Then they just pick up TJ from the Heat. Or PJ
Tucker. PJ Tucker.
Like PJ.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was on mute. I'm typing over here. So.
No, you're good. Yeah. So they picked up PJ. And
am I crazy? Did he get traded? Or was it a sign? No, he got signed.
He did not. He was a free agent. He got picked up.
I couldn't remember if it was he had a 1 year at Miami.
But as far as the signing, man, again, like he wants to win, right? But every single season, we're gonna talk about it. I know we're gonna talk about it at the start of the NBA season. We're gonna talk about projections. We're gonna talk about this during All-Star break. We're gonna talk about this when playoff time comes and how Doc Rivers just always ends up falling short in the playoffs, along with Joel Embiid as well. Man, can they get? I'm not sure. You're really gonna have to turn back the clock. We're gonna need to see the vintage James Harden here. But hey, for once we know that he's not in it for the money, right? So if you could turn back the clock to Houston, vintage James Harden, an effective season. But it's just not about how well the 76ers are gonna do. You gotta look at the competition in the East as well, man. The Heat ain't going nowhere. Toronto always hangs around. You got the Celtics. So
Bucks.
Bucks, they can easily be a first or second round exit depending on who they play and what seed they're in. So I still feel like they're going to be the same team as last season. They're going to be a playoff team, but can they get over the hump to get to the finals? I don't know.
I agree. I mean, I don't. Okay, yeah, you re-signed Harden, but I mean, you're pretty much rolling out the same team that was already there. And you think this team's going to make it any farther? I just don't think they really have the depth to compete with a Bucks, with a Heat, with the Celtics. Like, I don't think there's enough there. Are they a playoff team? For sure. Do I think they make it to the second round? I think, yeah, for sure. Getting past that second round, that's where I get like worrisome. I don't know. I don't know if it's enough unless James Harden and Embiid just absolutely go off, and maybe they get some guys that come out of nowhere. Just the supporting cast just really steps up. But
they're gonna like Julian said, they're gonna need a player or two to just kill it come playoff time and just step up. They're gonna need that third guy, that doesn't have a big name, because that's what happens hero. In the playoffs, man. Like, listen, we know James Harden's not gonna have that clutch moment in the play. Hey, maybe he can for a game, but it's not gonna be a meaningful game. It's not going to be, a must-win Game 6 or a must-win Game 7. Or as Joel Embiid, we know he could drop 40, Games 1, Game 2, Game 3. Come Game 6, Game 7 to close it out. They're just not going to do it. Especially against these 50-50 teams they're going to go against. They're going to go against high-seeded teams, second, third round in the playoffs. You're going to get the Celtics. You're going to get the Bucks. You're going to get the Heat. You know what I mean? With depth in their teams. Shout out Jason Tatum and Brown. They finally got over the hump. They were literally one game away from losing if the Heat, won that Game 7 to go in the finals, just like that. Now, Harden and Embiid, they're going to have that chip on their shoulder come playoff time. Like, they're going to need that killer instinct, close out the series. You can't give up 20-point leads. Like, silly mistakes that consistently happens. And again,
you can't give up games, too.
It could be a coaching problem. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, but we've seen it consistently every single year. They lost that game winner against Kawhi way back in Toronto, and they ended up winning the whole thing.
Real quick. Here's a quick little thought, little off script. Do you think Doc Rivers is a little bit overrated as a coach?
I've thought that for a while. I don't think he's that great of a coach.
Yeah, he's a winning.
But that's just my personal opinion.
He won one championship with a absolutely stacked team,
and couldn't follow up with it ever since. Like, I don't understand.
He's with had with the Clippers teams that was very good.
Yep.
And with the Sixers team that has been very good for a few years.
Well, he won with Celtics as well.
No, that's what I'm saying. His only thing was the one championship with the Celtics, which with the stacked team.
I don't think. I think. From what I hear, Doc is more interested in other things besides basketball. Like, he's interested in being in nice places, living in nice places with warm weather and nice golf courses.
Wow.
As far as like winning, he's been around winning. He's always been around winning. But as far as like playbook stuff, I've never heard anything complimentary of Doc Rivers. He just had great players that played great, and that'll cover your ass. You know what I mean? Like,
I've never, like Gabe said, like I never heard like what kind of coach he is. Is he heavy on defense? Is he good at scheming up plays? Is he good with time management? And like I haven't really seen anything big since Boston, and he really knew how to use that team. Bro, Rondo, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, KG, like any given moment, one of those guys was having a clutch bucket or a clutch pass. But then again, it could be the players. And they had heavy stacked LA.
I mean, they were big veterans.
Year after year. Then he transitioned, right? He got fired, right? And then he went to Philly.
No, he left and went to Clippers. I'm pretty sure when was he fired?
After
the Clippers? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they got rid of him.
I feel like I think it was mutual. I'm not sure. I know with the Celtics, I'm pretty sure with the Celtics, he left on his own.
Yeah.
Because the big three retired and all his players were gone. He's like, fuck, what am I going to do? I'm going to go somewhere.
They all went to Brooklyn.
He's like, I'm going to go somewhere else so they have players. And I'll say that Clippers team should have been way better than what they produced those years. That Clippers team should have been pushing for a title. And I don't know if that's him, if it's the players or what, but that team was very good.
What were we saying there, Gabe?
Years he was there.
So he started his career obviously in Orlando from 1999 to like 2004. And he went to Boston. He was there probably his longest career in Boston, 2004 to 2013. To the Clippers, he was there for like it looks about 7-8 years for the Clippers, and then he went to Philly for 2 years. So
and
he's had
2 years.
Yeah, Philly. That was
his
last job.
Yeah, they had Kawhi and PG couldn't get it done with the Clippers. They were trying to decide, are they blaming the players or are they blaming the coaching there at that point? Why they
Chris
still
Paul?
Get it? Bro, they had an elite team. Bro, signing two of the best two-way players in the league, Kawhi and PG.
Like that was and then you had Chris Paul was on that team, right? I'm pretty sure.
No.
Yeah,
not with PG
on
the Clippers.
The Clippers? Yeah,
no, with
Clippers.
PG and Kawhi.
He was the.
Not with PG.
I don't know if he wasn't there at the time. No,
he already left before that. That's what I'm saying.
When he first went to the Clippers, he had Blake Griffin in his prime,
DeAndre Jordan. You had Chris Paul. I'm missing somebody. I'm pretty sure his son was playing there at the same time too.
I believe so. Yeah. I'm missing another big star. There's somebody else that was there. I can't think of.
They had way too many people. Yeah. Honestly, every year they had star power.
And that was the year that like that section of years, that was like the Clippers' time to just like take over LA, because those were like Laker down years. That was like a very down section for the down few years for the Lakers, and that was like the time for the Clippers to like take over and like kind of. I mean,
they recently just the battle of LA too. Again, going back to Paul and Kawhi, they had that battle when LeBron was on the Lakers. They were like, all right, who's going to be the top team in LA? And guess what? Lakers ended up winning the championship.
And but I mean, during that time, the Lakers was like, Kobe was on his last leg. They were trying to go for that big three with Dwight Howard and Steve Nash and all that. Like that Lakers team was bad. Like those few years, they're really bad.
So
my take, just
question.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers overrated? Yes or no?
I'm just gonna end it. I'm gonna wrap it up and say yes, because he's always taken jobs with great players, right? With elite players, top players of the league, and it's always been upsetting. Besides that one Celtics year that he actually won a championship with great players, from Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett. Besides that one championship, he's always taken jobs with good teams and never finished the job. You know what I mean? So like, see, with me, I have respect for my Heat, my Spo. When the big three left, guess what? Spo and the Heat still somehow remain relevant. I'm not saying they're a top elite team, but they still somehow were able to compete afterwards. And look at how, talk about the 2020 bubble. Look at last year, how they still can compete. And like, we don't have the best players, right? Jimmy Bucket's our best player, but somehow they're still able to get the pieces and develop players enough they can compete. I can't really say that for Doc Rivers. Me, in my opinion, like I said, I think he's a little bit overrated. He does great with great players, still not meeting expectations. I don't think he's that great, man. I think he's overrated. Julian, I don't know. He's overrated.
Yeah, I agree. Everything
I agree. I agree.
All right, let's transition over. Let's talk about other stuff. Let's talk about KD, man. KD's still out there. Jojo, I don't know how you feel about this. KD is big rumors. He says he wants to be traded. Obviously, Kyrie resigns with the Brooklyn Nets. I was about to say New York Nets, but he resigns with the Brooklyn Nets. He's still out there, man. He said he wanted to go to either the Suns or to Miami, and all these teams are coming out. I think last week, Julian and I talked about how now the Celtics were in the running. They're talking about trading Jaylen Brown and whoever else pieces. Jojo, how do you feel about like KD? Do you think KD is going to actually be traded, or do you think that he's going to play next year with the Nets the entire season?
I mean, listen, the Suns just re-signed Ayton. Who are they going to get rid of to get KD over there? Like that's a done deal. I don't think that's happening. One, you don't have the money. Two, you're not going to trade your best players for KD. Like you got a whole system going with it over there. Like, yeah, I know KD once in a generation talent, but as we can see, not to bring LeBron into this, he does not have the LeBron effect. You're not going to go to a team and now you're instantly a title contender, because we've seen it happen now with the Nets the last few seasons. Like, yeah, a playoff team, but not a title contender. So,
well, they were supposed to be a title contender.
Yeah, but the Suns were already.
They never turned out being one.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna trade up now for KD and get rid of all their assets. Boston. When I heard that Boston rumor, there's no way. I was upset. There's no way this man, 2 times in his career, will go to the team that smoked them in the playoffs the season after they beat them. There's no way he's gonna do that, and they swept them. You're gonna go to the team that went to the finals yet again, and they swept you in the playoffs. Do you guys really see that happening?
No, like here's my thing. Like, I'm not I trash on LeBron, but I will say KD, the things he's done has kind of irked me a little bit. Like you said, like the whole like Golden State thing, and now like the Brooklyn thing. He doesn't like it. Just everything just comes out to be like he doesn't like, things aren't turning out like how he pictured. So now he's like, get me out as quick as possible. Like, I just want to leave. I want to leave. Like, get me out. It's not working. It's like a little kid almost. And then it's like, oh, you want to go to an extremely stacked team. Like, I don't know. That just like, it just really irks me. Instead of being like, all right, we're going to come back and get your ass. Like, it's just like, I don't like it here. I'm going to go over to the better team with more people. Yeah, it just irks me. Like, it just comes off like a little soft to me. Like, I don't know. Like, I get like when situations are bad and you're just like, get me out of here. But it's just like, it's like, yeah, like Jojo, it's the second time in a row now. It's like, oh, I don't like what's going on here. Let me go to the team that beat me. Like, they're better. They have more people. Like, it's just like
and for KD, like it's pretty crazy because he still has 4 years left on the contract, right? So it's like you were in here the long haul, and like now, like Julian says, like you're like trying to get out. Like you just signed a big ass contract. Why? So and Jojo, you brought up the Ayton contract, like the standards have been set, right? Because Rudy Gobert got traded, and the standards have been set, right? That's where Rudy Gobert, which is, you want to say he's a top defensive player, okay, that's fine. He's no fucking KD, and the fact that they got so much haul for Rudy Gobert, like that pretty much set the standard for everybody. So like, how are you gonna get a KD, which is like a top elite player, top 2, top 3 best players in the league? Like, does anybody have enough? If he wants to get traded, KD says he wants to be out, whatever, that's fine. If he wants to be traded, like what is the value? What is the standard? Like, can anybody
now real quick?
And that was my.
Let me get one point across, because again, just to bring back the LeBron effect, why can't KD, instead of him trying to escape, why can't he just pull in talent? Why can't he get people to go to him and want to play with him and maybe fix that Nets team? See, LeBron, okay, people get on him for recruiting, but at least LeBron won't get traded. He don't want to go to a super stacked team. At least he'll go to the team and then he'll bring in his pieces. Fine. KD's trying to find a way to escape. Like, all right, his next best option will probably be the Miami Heat, which, again, they have an amazing system, amazing coaching, great depth. But who are you going to get rid of for this one guy? You're going to get rid of that whole complete system that you had working. And is that really effective? Like, does that guarantee a finals? Like, does it?
Yeah, so and that's what I was saying. Like,
yeah, go ahead, man.
And that's what I was saying. It's like, one, I think the reason why KD's not like that, he doesn't. I don't think he's a very social person. I don't think he's not a salesman. Like, he's not gonna like.
Yeah,
he's not. And then two, like what Gabe was saying with the Hall, like you said, we saw they gave up for Rudy Gobert. Like, it wouldn't be worth it for any team. It's like, because if for a team to get rid of all those pieces, it's like, okay, did you even get better then? Like, you didn't even get better. And then thirdly, like, wouldn't Brooklyn be the best place for him to be at anyways? Because if he was to get traded off somewhere else, most likely that team is going to have to get rid of a lot of supporting pieces.
Exactly.
So then he's going to go back to the same situation that he was in Brooklyn. Yep. But the thing is, with Brooklyn, right now, we don't know what's happening with Kyrie. It seems like he might not. I don't know what they're going to do. I think he's pretty much going to be there.
He's going to play.
Ben Simmons might be healthy by the time of the season. Maybe he's a new man. Who knows? We're not biggest Ben Simmons fans on this podcast. But, like, I think it's. Well, one, I don't think you're getting anybody over to New York. And I think this is the first time in KD's career where he has no leverage. He has no leverage at all.
He does. Not at this point.
Brooklyn has all the leverage. It's like, why? All right, you want to go? Find a deal for us. And more than likely, you go somewhere, wherever you go, it's going to end up being pretty bad because the team had to get rid of all of us. And you know what's going to happen to us? We're going to be good. We're still going to be relevant because we're still going to have Kyrie and we're going to have all those pieces that we brought over and we're still going to be playoffs. So it's like, I see, just stay. Like, why? Like,
man.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, the more like he's announced that he wants to leave, right? Kyrie resigns. He announced he wants to leave. The more and more we get closer and it gets longer of like nothing's happening and everybody's waiting for this KD, domino to fall. The more I think like he's just gonna stay in New York and play.
All the dominoes fell.
Whether he wants to, sit out and be like, all right, well, I'm not playing. I'm not showing up at all. I'm not showing up at Barclays Center. If that's what you want to do to actually like say, hey, just pay me money and I won't show up. That's how you want to leave. Then maybe the Nets will get desperate. But right now, the Nets have all the chips. They have. They're like,
and he has no reason to do that. He has no you're a superstar, bro. Don't play the diva role now. This late in your career,
he's aging. He's like, aging. Yeah, you don't want to miss a year. Deshaun Watson, he's young. Like, KD is like, he's got to be in his 30s now.
And you're already coming back from injuries, and your time is ticking. Yeah. Your ankles, your Achilles, your knees, whatever it was, it ain't the same.
It's not a bad. It's still, they should be a playoff team. Like
him, Kyrie, and potentially, Simmons. Who knows if Simmons?
It wasn't like a Harden. It wasn't like a Harden situation, out of Houston where Russell Westbrook was gone, everybody was gone, and it's just Harden there. And it's like, all right, I can get the fuck out of here because there's nothing I can do here. Right. That was a little different. But like here, it's like I said, he has no leverage. He
tied his horses to the Nets.
Wait, and here's the last thing I want to say about this.
He wants a cop out.
Listen, he went to a team knowing that, no offense to Steve Nash, yes, you had amazing players, but you went to a super young coach that was not established yet in the league. Like, that was your fault. Like, you know what I mean? There could be more internal problems aside than your teammates, but like, hey, maybe the coaching's the issue, and they probably
there's a certain point where you just have to live with your decisions that you made. Like, you made this decision, and that's a fact.
That's a fact. That's the last thing.
Let's talk about other news. Britney Griner was arrested in Russia. Obviously, I think she had a vape pen. I don't know if I had weed in it or if not. She had some kind of vape pen. She was arrested. She was detained for like more than 150 days. Yeah. She finally had a trial. She got pretty much sentenced for like smuggling and for having illegal substance or something. 9 years in prison. Jojo, I know you want to talk about this real quick.
Yeah, man.
Brittany Griner. I don't know what you think about this Brittany Griner situation.
When I saw the sentence, I just thought it was ridiculous. Sorry, excuse that. 9 years, the maximum sentence she could have got. I don't know too much details on the rules in Russia and traveling and the smuggling. Apparently, it was traced to THC and what she had, the vape pen, and they accused her for smuggling. And she admitted it. I think she came out and said, okay, cool, she knew what she was doing. But she was sorry. She showed compassion, and they gave her 9 out of 10 years, which is ridiculous. Now she's stuck in a Russian prison for 9 years, and it's not like she had bags of cocaine, bags of weed, or whatever the situation was on her. And again, I don't know international rules. I've only traveled internationally once, and it's unfortunate at the timing where it happened, and during Russia's invasion, she got stuck out there. I think it's ridiculous. I was actually upset about it to hear that. If they uphold it and she's stuck for 9 years, man, one, we have one of our own over here stuck in Russia, and two, like her career is over. Like that's it. You know what I mean? There's no more Britney Griner in the WNBA. Doing what she does. It's. I think it's insane. Honestly, I don't have any more words on it. It sucks, man. And if they could figure something out to get her back over here, that would be amazing. It would be a miracle for that to happen. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
That ain't happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't surprised. I mean, my thing is it sucks and it's terrible. But I guess to me, at the end of the day, as somebody who's traveled a lot, traveled to a bunch of different countries, you don't even and I admire that she admitted to it and it's and acknowledged her mistakes. But it's terrible, and I don't think she don't deserve 9 years. That's fucked up. But you know what you're doing. You don't even try, man. Especially in a country like Russia where there's no extradition laws, where there's it sucks, but you know better. You shouldn't be. She's a grown ass woman. You shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? That's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty shitty. It's all political shit, right? Because now we're in the middle where Russia's pretty much isolated right now from the world and the World Bank and all this shit with the shit they started in Ukraine. Britney Griner. There have been talks in the background of them trading for people, right? Because other Russians that are arrested in America to trade to cross to give them up. But from what I heard, they had this one guy that they're talking about trading for that was pretty much like an arms dealer. Which was I don't know if you saw the Marvel movies. The guy that claw.
Yeah, bro. Does that even make sense? Happening,
a lady,
bro. It's
a lady
Russia, dude.
She had a vape pen versus some guy who sells guns and missiles to kill people. Does that equate? Is that equal?
I did not agree, and I understand doing anything possible, but we got to do things the right way, and I do feel
you got to be smart.
Every life is important, right? But you have to look at the outcome, right? Yeah. You got to look at the macro point of view of cause and effect, and having this guy free over there, man. Wow, the potential of that. You know what I mean? What do you guys thoughts on what I said? Do you think there's it's terrible and it's really bad and I don't agree, but at the end of the day, it is Russia. I wouldn't do anything possible that I know that is illegal over there. Last thing, and like I said, as somebody who's traveled a lot, you don't. I'll be honest. I don't think I'd ever even go to Russia, bro. I don't think I'd ever step.
And that's another thing. Because she was going there to train or do a.
No, they have a league. They have a league.
Yeah,
just we can talk about sports washing with we talk about the Live Golf or whatever with Saudi Arabia. Russia has a basketball league because they want to seem like they're this modern country that we have all the sports. We have we have racing. We have basketball. We have golf. We have there, a lot of the WNBA players go over to play in the off season and get money. They get paid by this Russian league, which is run by the Russian government. They have to travel to go play in those leagues. So it's unfortunate. Julian, you talk about don't bring do you even trust? I don't even trust the Russian. Do you trust
Russia's
legal department?
I don't trust it.
They're very illegal because with all the war atrocities going on in Ukraine, do you trust?
No, I mean that's a fair. That's a fair.
We do not like drugs.
That's a fair point, but like I said, I would do everything possible not to even put myself in that situation, though.
It's a bit excessive to say somebody.
You don't think about those things, right? Until it happens, right? At that point, you're like, oh,
bringing a legal drug over. You tell me you don't think about that.
What I'm saying is, you don't think of the consequences, right? You don't think of like 9 years in prison. That's not what was going on in her head. Like, all right, 9 years in prison could happen.
This got a vape pen. This is a vape pen.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, maybe you could get in trouble.
That shit happens here, bro. I mean, it happens here. There's a certain part of personal responsibility. Like, I mean, that's just my like. I mean, anyways, I don't think, but yeah.
To counter Julian, I think it's a bit ridiculous to call her for smuggling. When I think smuggling, I think of planes. I think of cargo boats of drugs.
Bro, that shit happens here. That shit happens here, dude. I'm telling you, that shit's the same. People get charged with that same shit here. Smuggling or distribution or whatever, even though it's just like their own thing.
We'll end it at this point. Very controversial topic here. Anyways, free Britney Griner.
Let's transition.
Get to a reduced sentence overall. We just wish her the best. All right, go ahead, Gabe. Take it away.
All right, yeah. I want to get off this topic because, we don't get too political over here. We'll talk about politics. But let's talk about some other news. We'll end it here with the MLB. The MLB, the trade deadline was like one of the most traffic days for like the MLB.com, other sites. Everybody was logging into MLB.com to find out who was being traded, what was being traded. The biggest search history or search engine, people typing in their search engines, was Juan Soto. So, Jojo, you're our resident baseball master. I think going into this trade deadline, I think Juan Soto was like one of the biggest names, right? Because he declined extension with the Washington Nationals because he thought it was like $450 million, one of the biggest contracts or whatever. Because he thought he can get some more. He ends up getting traded during the trade deadline. Jojo, how do you feel about him getting traded to the San Diego Padres, who now have Juan Soto, they have Machado, and they have Tatis Jr. How do you feel about the Padres acquiring Juan Soto this trade deadline this offseason, or just during the season?
It's been lingering in my head. I'm like, yo, who? I didn't expect him to go to the Padres because first off, they gave Machado that massive contract, and they already have Tatis there. So I'm like, what are they going to give to get him? Obviously, he wants to go to a contender, right? Now, here's the thing. It's amazing for the Padres, but they still have the Dodgers to worry about. Now, can they play catch up to the Dodgers and take the division this season? That is the question. They could obviously fight, for a wild card spot, but would you want to leave it in the hands? You made this big move for a one playoff game. Looking long term, it's amazing, right? Because the next few seasons, they have this young generational talent that they could build on with Machado and Tatis when he comes back from injury. And Padres could be an amazing team. We saw glimpses of them in the last few seasons, and they just scored. They literally hit a home run acquiring Soto right now. Now the question is, what can they do with him this season? Can they play catch up to the Dodgers? So I'm gonna look at the standings right now. I know they're behind quite a few games here for the division.
Screen.
Yeah, they're second. They're 61-47 right now. Currently, the Padres are 61-47.
12 and a half games behind the Dodgers. 12 and a half games, which there's still some time left in the season. Got about 50 games left, if I'm correct. So there's time to catch up, but they're going to have to be real consistent. Now, wild card standings, let's see where they're at.
The Padres, they're second in the wild card. Yeah, they're 2 games above the line. 2.5 games above the line right here.
All right. I mean,
so they're fighting. So
yes, Atlanta right there, which we've seen what Atlanta could do in the last few seasons.
They're going to lock it up. Like they're in. They're in.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing I think I see from this trade. Like, they went big on Yu Darvish. I think Yu Darvish was with the Cubs for a little bit. There was a pitcher, and And they signed Machado to a big guy.
Darvish was with the Rangers before.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, with the Rangers. He was with the Cubs and then went to the Rangers. Also, they signed Machado. Machado came from the Orioles, right? Machado was with the Orioles.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
So they signed Machado. They signed Yu Darvish. They get these big contracts. So to me, this is like them going all in. Obviously, you got to compete against the LA Dodgers. And like they're going all in. Like this, if I'm a Padres fan, which I'm not, I might become because these are exciting young players.
Really, I thought you were an Angels fan.
I'm just a Ohtani fan.
City of Angels, man.
There we go.
I'm just Ohtani.
There we go.
I'm an Ohtani kind of guy.
I thought you were Anaheim.
No, just Ohtani. Just him. If I'm a Padres fan, like, yo, your team's they're trying to win, though. Like, they're not, you know what I mean? Maybe they cannot compete with, they can't compete with the Dodgers, but at least they're trying, dude. They're trying. Honestly, they're trying.
It's time, bro. Listen, if I were them, bro, in that division, I'd be sick and tired coming second place to these damn Dodgers, bro. I'd be sick of it. Yeah, there's all-star talent.
They're 12 and a half games behind the Dodgers.
We said they're a sleeper team. We've said they're a sleeper team for the past few seasons, and we haven't even seen them get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh my
because
God,
somehow along the road, they end up slipping. Early on in the season, they were going back and forth for first place with the Dodgers. And look, of course, the Dodgers go ahead and take a commanding 12.5 game lead in first place.
72 wins. They're probably going to hit 100. Well, they're going to hit 100.
They're going to hit 100.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Their run differential's 210.
Shit.
Plus 200.
Oh my. Plus 210. That's the most in the league, only behind the Yankees. I mean, so the second place is the Yankees, by then.
Oh, speaking of the Yankees, let's transition over to the Yankees. I don't know if you've seen JoJo in this offseason. JoJo, our resident Yankees fan. One of the biggest trades, Joey Gallo. He was having a tough time. He was like under
I love Gallo.
50, under the Mendoza line. Whatever. They trade Joey Gallo to the Dodgers for a right-handed pitcher in Clayton Beeter. How do you feel, just JoJo in general? We can talk about Joey Gallo specifically for this season, but how do you feel about the transactions between the Yankees up to the trade deadline? How do you feel they did it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they did perfect. We did perfect, right? No offense to Joey Gallo. Love the man. Love the signing last season. But guess what? He wasn't performing at all. He struck out at least 2-3 times a game. Every once in a while, you see a glimpse of his greatness, a little solo shot, home run at Yankee Stadium. But we know when playoff time comes, we need the pitching, and we definitely need another starter, right? We're thinking long term. We're thinking Houston Astros. That's what's on every Yankees fan's mind right now. We know we're gonna finish first place the rest of the season. We're already in playoff mode. We're thinking Houston Astros, like I said, which they actually beat us quite a few times this season. So I'm a little worried, even though I have faith in my team. With Aaron just leading the way. But back to the trade, man, we definitely need the pitching, and Joey Gallo wasn't performing. And we actually got another outfielder, Benintendi, from the Royals. Great acquisition there. Good piece of hitting, great fielding, pretty good arm out there. Now, actually, it's funny you brought up Joey Gallo. He's with the Dodgers, another big market team. So, there's been talks like, how is he going to perform there? He came from Texas, small market, no pressure on him, hence why he had such amazing numbers. And then coming to New York, like I say, he shit the bed. He shit the bed with us this season. So now he's with the Dodgers, and he actually got his first hit today, which was a single that got through shortstop. So now everyone's making jokes like, oh, now Gallo's either going to shit the bed with the Dodgers or he's finally going to go off. But, of course, he's going to go off with L.A., like, out of all teams. This man's just going to make him better. So we'll see down the road, playoff time. How do you feel about that, Gabe? Getting rid of him, getting a pitcher?
I mean, he's definitely been the biggest sore spot. As good as the Yankees have been this entire season, as good as their win differential and their win differential is, he's been the sore spot, and everybody's like talking about, Joey Gallo. I was like, just give him a chance to get into the playoffs. But obviously, they traded him away. And like you said, I think they did well in trying to beef up their pitching. Pitching is going to be key in the playoffs. I know offensively, as long as everybody stays healthy, like we can get into their hitters. We can talk about Aaron Rodgers next. As long as they stay healthy, man, the Yankees are looking really good this year. They look really good. And trading Joey Gallo seems like a nice guy, but he was definitely the sore spot on that starting roster. So we'll see. Let's end it on Aaron Judge, because Aaron Judge has hit. This is like top 4, the most home runs hit through 106 games. You're only halfway. Like I said, we just got to the trade deadline, post All-Star game. He's hit 43 home runs in 106 games, and the only other 4 people do that. Below him is Babe Ruth, or tied with him is Babe Ruth with 43. Above him is Babe Ruth with 44. Mark McGwire and Barry Bonds.
Don't count. Babe Ruth don't count.
Mark McGwire and Barry Bonds. So he's up there with the greats.
I'll only count Mark McGwire and Barry Bonds.
You count Barry Bonds on the roids above Babe Ruth. Natural talent.
I will count Barry Bonds. Natural talent. Okay, the guy was playing against plumbers. I'll take juiced up Barry Bonds and juiced up Mark McGwire. I'll take that over Babe Ruth.
This guy.
I'll take Ohtani. I'll take Ohtani over Babe Ruth.
Let's
talk about Aaron Judge among the greats.
Here's what the Yankees need to do. They need to put a blindfold on, right? They need to hand this man a blank check, right? Because we still haven't even signed him to a deal. They need to do everything we can to get this man to stay with the Yankees and initiate him as the captain. Yes, I'm saying it. We haven't even won a championship with him yet. He's showing crazy leadership, immense leadership that we need on the team. Leading the league, home runs, hits going crazy, batting average going crazy. This guy has walk-off home runs. He has everything in the book right now this season. All-star appearance. Hand this man a blank check. Almost every other game, this man's hitting a home run, but not just random, bullshit home runs. It's usually in clutch moments. Go-ahead home runs to give us the lead. And, of course, he has a few walk-offs under his belt this season, in which the Yankees do lead the league and walk-offs this season. So shout out them boys over there. I'm actually a little upset. I don't know if you guys saw the record books, but we're not in first place anymore in the league. Fucking Dodgers, 72 wins, got ahead of us, but whatever.
Julian, how do you feel about Aaron Judge? Do you think he's worth the paycheck? Do you think he's worth it going forward? I mean, he's playing very well this season. He's finally having a great season. You know what I mean? With the slight injuries. But Julian, is Aaron
putting
Judge,
it all together?
Should they go all in on Aaron Judge, the Yankees?
Yeah, I mean, who's beating him in home runs this year? I mean, he's been the best hitter in the league so far when it comes to why not? What are you going to do? Get rid of him? It's the Yankees, bro. They can pay whatever they want. It doesn't matter. They've been legally cheating for decades, for centuries.
Whoa.
They've been legally cheating.
Hey, listen, money talks, man. Call us the Bankies, all right? Because we out here. That's it. Just like the Dodgers, man.
Real quick, I did want to acknowledge before we end the show how much the Marlins have been pissing me off. They made no moves in the trade deadline for pitching. Pitching is atrocious outside of Sandy Alcantara, who actually just threw his third complete game shutout. Yeah, this season against the Reds. But then anytime anybody else pitches, it's a shit show, and they allow
and guess what runs. The Marlins are probably going to do, and I'm wearing a Marlins jersey.
They're probably going to sell him.
They're going to get rid of him.
They're going to get rid of him. Like they always fucking do, and it pisses me off.
I don't think
they're going to get rid of him.
You know how, lost Christian Yelich. You lost Carlos Stanton. You lost so many players, so many
Gordon,
solid, really
Marcelo Zuna, and shout out everybody else. They got
Marcelo Zuna, Real Muto, the catcher. You've lost, D Gordon, all these people, and it's just it's so frustrating. And the Marlins have slowly been dropping. They lost the whole series to the Mets. They lost a series to the Reds, and they were pushing the wild card. They were pushing the wild card. They were 4.5 games behind, and then literally in the past week and a half, 2 weeks, they're now 9 games behind, and it's just you lost the Mets, which sucked. You should have swept the Reds, and I'm pretty much. And then they didn't trade for anybody. They didn't do anything to really push themselves to that wild card spot.
They have to trade for it. They don't really have.
Well, he's done something.
They do. They got a few all-stars, but they're not going to get rid of those all-stars just yet. No,
my thing isn't the hitting; it's the pitching. The pitching is just awful. It's terrible. They did bring up a guy from the Jumbo Shrimp.
In Jacksonville,
yeah. I think it's just
MCL or UCL, something in his arm. He fucking blew his arm out.
I remember how hyped everybody was. He came up from the Jumbo Shrimp because
Myers was his name.
Yeah, Mike something Myers. Yeah, he was killing it in Jacksonville. Apparently, one of my buddies was, because obviously, he goes to the game sometimes, and he's like, "Yeah, man, this guy's nice." He's been watching him at the Jumbo Shrimp, and then he got called up, and then it's just the Marlins just piss me off. The Marlins are the epitome of always being 4 games behind the wild card, always. They always give you enough to keep you like hopeful, but
isn't that the worst part though, right? Having that little small sense of hope. You don't want to get too excited, but then you.
I don't know. I feel like I'd rather have that though than just be like the Nationals or like 30.
Last place.
Listen, you're talking to a Jaguars fan. There's a lot of hopelessness.
Pushing for the playoffs.
Let's not talk about
is like the Super Bowl for me. It's like pushing for playoffs is like the Super Bowl.
Bro, listen, all I gotta say, I'm just glad Yankees, we're right where we're supposed to be. We're in first place majority of the season. We're holding it down, in our division. We're gonna take first place for sure in our division. Like I said, not to reiterate, but our main focus right now is those damn Houston Astros. And honestly, I want to see them in the playoffs. You're gonna hear a lot more about this in the next few episodes. So, guys, take it away.
Let's talk about real quick before we get
sound
out
like
of
a drum circle. Everybody's just beating on a trash can during that World Series.
We were talking about the Marlins, so let's talk about. I see you wearing a jersey, Jojo. You want to talk about what was that? Why is it red? I don't think the Marlins have red in there. What's up with that?
It's an Angels jersey. What's up? Like your shirt now playing. All right, guys. Yeah, we posted a reel on our Instagram, Real Fans Podcast. Highlighting Puerto Rico Heritage Night. So what's dope about Marlins and Lone Depot Park, they do this every year, right? Heritage Nights. Again, just celebrating tradition between cultures. Next week is actually Dominican Republic Heritage Night. They have Italian Heritage Night. They have Jewish Community Night. They have Venezuelan Heritage Night. They have Cuban Heritage Night. And I was able to attend Puerto Rican Heritage Night. Shout out my Boricuas out there. Go Keys, Plátano power, Mangu power, everything.
How was the game? What was the
power
like?
for everyone? Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, everybody. It was actually dope, man. They had a live salsa concert at the end, post game. They gave out these dope jerseys. Check it out. Upon entrance, they actually gave out cowbells. So we're out there making noise.
Stitched in, or is it like a print? Like a print?
No, it's actually not print. It's stitched in. It's part of the jersey. It won't fade.
Even the flag, right there.
The flag is also stitched in. Will not fade. Yep.
Really? It's like an actual,
they really stepped up. I
would have went to the game, but I had another thing. I was too late. Well, no, but by the time I saw the thing, it was like, by the time I was going to buy the tickets, it literally said, because I was going to get it the day before, but then I forgot. And so then I went to go get it like 2 days before the game. And it said that it sold out of jerseys. And I was like, nah, fuck it. I'm not going to go. that was my biggest thing is I wanted the jersey.
Yeah, it's probably the earliest I've ever went to a Marlins game. I went like when the gates opened.
I would have got it
to make sure I got my jersey.
I would have done it, but like something came up. I remember I was waiting for an answer for something, and then I forgot about it. And then by the time I remembered to go purchase it, it was like we've sold out of jerseys, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm just not gonna go. Like I was like, fuck it.
But for the listeners out there, this was kind of like a taste to what it's going to be like for the World Baseball Classic, in which Miami's hosting in March. Stay tuned for that. That's going to be dope. Real quick, Gabe. So with purchasing, the ticket package to receive the jersey for this game, actually allowed us to get a pre-sale of the Puerto Rico games coming in March. So I'm going to be looking out for that email to get a little pre-sale action, get first dibs on those games. So I thought that was pretty dope there. And proceeds went to some Puerto Rican foundations out here in the community in Miami. So, man, it was just all good things about the game. And, shout out to the Marlins hosting it every year. Again, multiple cultures. Dominican.
Well, you got the cowbell.
Heritage is going to be. The cow was actually pretty dope. The cow was pretty dope. Everybody. Listen, man, the funniest part, man, you just had casual fans there, had no idea what was going on. They just wanted to see the Mets, coming to town. There was a lot of, New Yorkers out there.
Yeah, it was also a Mets game. Yeah, it's a Mets game.
Yeah, too, so it was a great turnout. Cool. It was dope. And then all you hear is cowbells everywhere. And then you see these fans sitting here like, yo, what the hell is going on right now? That's what the baseball game. We're like, hey, I didn't sign up for this. You got little kids banging their cowbell.
Yeah, you imagine being a pitcher, just hearing these fucking bells.
Imagine being the Astros where they get a trash can, you get a cowbell instead.
Yeah,
those are tough jokes. We'll have definitely more, especially when the World Baseball Classic comes to land. We'll will definitely have our ears to the streets. JoJo will definitely be there. He's getting those tickets. Julian hopefully be there. Hopefully he'll fucking buy the tickets in time. God damn. But we'll be back here next week. More stuff. Real Fans Podcast covering all the sports, MLB, NBA, NFL. Anything. SlamBall. We'll come back with SlamBall.
SlamBall content. You gotta pick a team.
We'll be here next week. Real Fans Podcast. We appreciate all the downloads and subscriptions. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace out.